All right, and we are live. Welcome to the show. It's
Yeah, and you were bobbing your head too.
This week we're going to be talking to Wade Ryer. But before we get to Wade,
Oh God,
Charlie, let's welcome Charlie.
what's up, people? Everybody out there in podcast land. How you guys doing? How you doing, Carlos?
Jack Casper Jack.
I'm doing good. How about you?
So
Better than
good.
Manny Pacquiao. Let's welcome Mr. Tigo Sketch Tyrus Gaucher.
Hey, turn this off right now.
Disrespected.
ESL. Give it 1 sec. Give it a second to simmer. One full page of Harry Potter.
You know what I like? Tyrus is bobbing his head at the beginning of the show before he realized what it was.
All right, that's enough of that mess. Let's go ahead and get Wade Ryer up in this house.
Yeah.
Yeah, son.
Thanks for having me.
For
Welcome.
the record, Wade Ryer, can you read one full page of a Harry Potter book?
I think I can.
That was fantastic. And that was for my boy Floyd Mayweather. This past weekend, he went out and got the job done. Let's talk about that for a second before we get
The
into
greatest. The greatest.
I know Wade is a big fighter, big fight fan, and he does boxing when he's bored. Wade, what do you think about the fight?
It was exactly what I thought it was going to be. It's a Floyd Mayweather fight. It was a great fight.
Very.
Floyd is the best of this era right now. He's the best pound for pound. He's not TBE, though. He's not the best ever.
No. According to him, he is he's better than everybody, but as rightfully anybody would think that of themselves.
But right now, he's the best out there.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, let me ask you. How do you say he's not? Now, I might agree with you. I might not. But how do you say he's not the greatest ever?
It does not compare. Sugar Ray Robinson,
Muhammad Ali.
Ali's up there. Ali's not the best ever, or greatest of all time. Number one, I would go with Sugar Ray Robinson, and then you got to go with Henry Armstrong, and let's see, and then probably Joe Louis. And
Wait,
then,
so do you have Jack Johnson in your list?
yeah, he'd be up there too.
Mm-hmm. I would make him number one actually because of the time that he fought in, where
He demolished everybody.
I mean, yeah, and everybody wanted to kill him, literally.
Yeah,
He would still go in the ring. You're talking about 1904.
yeah.
This guy's like the heavyweight world champion. And if you for those of you who are interested in this type of thing, check out his bibliography. See what he did. He actually won a world championship, came to Chicago, picked up some, I don't know if they were prostitutes or whatever, but the fact that he went to Wisconsin meant that he bought cooch across line, which was illegal, across the state line, which was illegal. And so they stripped him.
Wasn't there a warrant out for his arrest?
Yeah.
And they were like chasing
Which means he
him,
was
right?
going to eat him, because the only reason you take anybody into Wisconsin is because you're going to eat them.
Wait, what?
There's nothing, yeah. There's nothing in Wisconsin except eating people, Jeffrey Dahmer.
What? Oh.
He'd go into Chicago, pick up his little friends, and then go to Wisconsin. I guess
I think
people
there was-
taste better with cheese.
He's so you totally derailed this conversation.
Right. In battle rap, we call that a reach.
Exactly.
Because in your battle rap career, you is that
Someone feels spicy today.
you rhyme? Is that what you're telling
Look at
me?
him push the buttons. He wants to wake the beast.
Hey, still upset about that. Anyway, okay.
Anyway, we can talk. We can go back to Floyd Mayweather. He's a good fighter, but he's not a. I mean, he's a good boxer. He's not a good fighter.
Exactly. Yes, he is. And people are used to watching like Mike Tyson smash people and like Lennox Lewis. They don't they're not familiar with Floyd Mayweather. So yeah, a lot of people are all disappointed. Like, oh, I loved it. I thought it was great.
But how do we say he's not a good boxer? He is a good boxer.
He's one of the
He said that. He said he's not good.
He's a good technical fighter or boxer.
He's not.
He knows how to block. He knows how to not get hit. He's amazing. His defense is absolutely amazing. He might be up there among the ranks of one of the best defensive fighters.
I would say easily he's the best defensive fighter. Easily he's the best defensive fighter, but he's still a fighter. Now let me tell you why. He's got 28 KOs. That's more than 54% knockout rate out of 48 fights. So when we say he's not a great fighter, how can we say that? So as of later in his career, he's not knocking anybody out. Well, that's normal. That's natural, especially we're not talking about heavyweights. So how is he not a great fighter? He's got 28 knockouts. He hasn't lost since he's 19. So it's not like he's been this.
He doesn't throw. He doesn't throw like a fighter should.
What do you mean like a fighter should? What's that mean?
There's a fighter and there's a boxer. He's technically sound, but a fighter, just Pacquiao is a fighter. He gets in there and he throws knuckles. I'm not saying how many losses does he have? Hang on, and I'm not saying that he's better than Mayweather, but he's known as a fighter. Mike Tyson is known as a fighter.
Look at Cesar Chavez, fighter.
Yeah.
Cesar Chavez, fighter. Oscar De La Hoya, more of a boxer.
Bernard Hopkins is a boxer.
Yes.
And Bernard Hopkins is 50 and still fighting.
And still, he just unasked the belt like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And then like somebody like Hatton would be considered a fighter.
Yeah.
I get what you. But look, Muhammad Ali did the same thing. He did the same thing Mayweather did.
Right.
As a heavyweight. So do you say Muhammad Ali isn't a fighter?
I think Floyd's not taking a lot of crap because he's not likable.
So Muhammad Ali is a good boxer, whereas what's his name? George Foreman was a fighter.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I mean, but
you know what I mean?
But which one is better?
There's some
which one is better?
I don't think one can be better.
Which one is better? I don't know.
It's just different styles.
Just different styles.
Yeah.
You can't say which one's better.
The one who's better is the one who wins the fight.
Well, I'm just saying. I wouldn't diminish either one of them by saying one's better than the other. They're just different.
Well, okay. Let me ask you this: which one is the better athlete, the fighter or the brawler? The boxer. Which one is the better?
I guess you could say it depends on the
boxer, because he might have a little more sense. Whereas
he said the fighter is just in there.
I agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with you 100%.
If you want to go into the UFC, what's that? Oh, crap! Right when I went to say his name, he does those brake commercials now where his truck hits the brakes right in mid.
Oh, Chuck Liddell.
Chuck Liddell. He's just one of the meanest fighters. Period. He goes in there and he dares you to knock him out.
Kind of crazy.
And if you don't, he's gonna knock your ass out. Whereas like a BJ Penn might be a better technical fighter.
So what would you say George St. Pierre is then?
Right.
He's more of a technical fighter.
I agree. I agree with you on that. But George St. Pierre is a boring technical fighter. Okay, so in UFC, I think
I'll call them both though.
George St. Pierre? I mean, he's strictly tactical. He hasn't knocked anybody out in a long time, and he didn't have very many knockouts. He made a lot of people tap, but that's technical.
So I guess we're getting into okay.
What about the Diaz brothers though? Now,
which one? Which one?
Same thing. And in UFC, there's a difference between fighters and brawlers, right? And in the UFC, we love brawlers because. Because
someone's going
They go in and they they're not sitting there like
because either they're knocking the hell out of someone or someone is
getting knocked out.
Night. We know that something is going to happen. That's why we knew, like when Mike Tyson went into a fight, we knew someone was going to die.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
The question was it going to be 10 seconds
Tyson?
into the fight?
Yeah. Who's
Tyson
better,
I knew you were going with this.
Or Floyd Mayweather. Now, this is the question.
See, that would be a battle for the ages because you have a puncher who all he does is punch, and then you have someone who doesn't like to get punched and is really good at not getting.
But at the same time, though, Is Mike Tyson really gonna be able to go in there and figure out how to punch Floyd
And
Right.
that's it.
And he would get knocked
in
out.
his prime, in
Mike
his
would have
young?
muscled
No,
his way in there and
Nope, he wouldn't have.
Oh, you're
Nope.
crazy.
I don't
Floyd
know.
Mayweather would have lit him up.
Crazy.
I don't know.
You're-
Name the most technically sound person Mike Tyson went against.
Probably Lennox Lewis.
And what happened to him?
He can't.
What
Hey,
happened to him?
they
Exactly.
didn't
I'm
fight.
setting myself
They didn't
up.
fight because Mike Tyson said he was going to eat Lennox Lewis's babies.
Lennox Lewis embarrassed Mike Tyson.
Embarrassed him. Yeah.
He embarrassed him.
That's why I asked
Yeah, but
questions.
that
Yeah,
was
see,
when
'cause-
Mike was.
so I don't think Mike knew
Mike
in terms of
prime.
just like with basketball. You got those good basketball players that
And the guys who
understand
know
the
the
court,
game. Right.
that understand the court, can see the
Mhm.
court. You had those dudes that just was conditioned, that like just listened. They don't really understand outside of like the next play. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think Mike Tyson had that in terms of outside of like, going past like how many did Mike Tyson ever get to like a full rounds, or was that later in his career?
Yeah, he did. He had some full-round fights, but
But it
he
wasn't.
lost it.
At the end, it was
Here's the test. He lost to Buster Douglas.
There it is.
That right there.
Yeah.
Come on.
He lost to Buster. You can't argue that, dude.
That's
Not
true.
even fair. That man was
Carlos
going
said
through
low
some
blow.
things.
He's so.
That man was going through some things. Golly. All right. On that note, Wade Ryer. We're gonna go ahead and change it. I don't know him right now. Wade Ryer, you're on IMDb.
I am, yeah. I've worked on a bunch of movies as a DreamWorks for almost 6 years and bounced around a bunch of movies. Just finished working on Pan, and now I'm doing the game cinematic.
Nice.
Can you say who or no?
The project I'm working on right now?
Yeah.
I probably shouldn't. I don't think I'm supposed
Probably
to.
shouldn't, right? You got to think.
I signed a bunch of paperwork.
Hey,
I was
way
hoping
to
to
ruin it,
exclusive.
Charlie.
I'm trying to get it exclusive.
Right, we don't care about your career. Say it.
You may get sued, but well, you got money. It's okay.
You and Pacquiao both be in court getting sued. Don't worry about it.
There's swapped stories. What you here for? Well,
Yeah, I talked about some game that wasn't supposed to be talking about. So I was at DreamWorks for before that. I was in London, worked for Frame Store, worked on Tale of Despereaux there. Worked in Chicago with Charlie for EA for a year, and then I also was in Texas, and I worked for DNA Productions on the Any Bully and for Real Effects over there.
was that after? So what's the lineage, if you will? So
What's
you
that?
went from Chicago
To London.
To London. So how long were you in London?
About a year and a half.
And then you went to Texas, and that's when you did Aunt Bully and them?
No, then I went to DreamWorks.
Okay, then you went to DreamWorks.
So I started off in. I'm originally from upstate New York.
Mm-hmm.
I bounced around there around the Northeast for a bit, and then like my first real CG job was for Real Effects. That's when I first started doing rigging.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you know Kent Trammell
Name sounds familiar.
on at Real Effects? I believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Name
worked
sounds-
on that?
I was there back in 03 to 04.
Mm-hmm. Wow. You've been all over the place.
I know, yeah.
And now you're just freelancing?
Freelancing.
Nice. How you like that?
I like it a lot. I wouldn't. It's kind of weird. Like, I was at DreamWorks for almost 6 years, and the Titanic started going down, got laid off, and then I just kind of got into doing the freelance stuff. Places started calling me.
How long have you been freelancing?
About almost a year now.
Oh, cool. And it's been and has it been strictly sculpting?
Sculpting and rigging stuff, both. And a
Nice.
little bit of teaching stuff. But I've been really fortunate. I've been booked every day nonstop since last summer.
Really? Nice.
Yeah. I'll get 2-3 calls a week. I mean, it's busy. There's a lot of stuff out there.
Is this
not-
referrals? Or how are you getting all these,
Either referrals or people come across my stuff. I mean, the place where I'm working for right now, I never even heard of them. And then they're like, hey, we came across your stuff. Will you come sculpt stuff for us? And I'm like, whatever. Basically, whoever jingles the most nickels, I'll go work for them. But it's been good. I mean, the money's really good. It's not, you don't know where you're going to be in, a couple months. Most everything is usually like 6 to 8 week bookings. There's like a whole system with holds. Do you guys know about this?
Yeah, we had a buddy on that was talking about that. He does motion graphics and first hold, second hold, and all that good stuff.
I never heard about this stuff until I started doing freelance stuff, and yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's what I was asking how you like it, because do you ever see yourself going back to just a studio job?
If it's right studio job. I mean, I've been offered to go back to different places, to full-time stuff, but there was like smaller stuff. It wasn't anything I was really super interested in. Yeah, but at some point, like I would love to get over at Disney at some point. But they've been, I know they're like just fully booked, staffed up over there. They have been for a while. But there's in LA, there's not a lot of full-timey work right now. I mean, Rhythm Hughes is gone. Like all the VFX stuff is pretty much gone. There's a lot of commercial stuff, but it's all all freelance stuff. And then Disney is full up, and then DreamWorks is kind of on the downswing. So, yeah.
What was your last project you worked on over at DreamWorks?
That actually saw the light of day or got canceled?
That's all light of day.
How to Train Your Dragon 2.
Oh, okay. So you weren't on the home team?
I was on home.
Oh, you was on home?
Not on home. I'm sorry. I was thinking of Boo. I was confused.
Did that get canceled?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's gone. And I was on Puss in Boots 2, and that got canceled as well.
Some of the other movies that Wade has been a part of, Rise of the Guardians, Kung Fu Panda 2. He already mentioned the Tale of Despereaux. How to Train Your Dragon 2. The Ant Bully, if you guys remember that. G.I. Joe Valor versus Venom.
Awesome.
So wait, what's your expertise? Is it because you just started getting into sculpting the last 5 or 6 years, right?
Yeah, I'm fairly into the sculpting stuff. I mean, yeah, I saw the stuff that like Danny Williams is doing and stuff that Chris Moffat was doing. Man, I was like, I want to learn that stuff. Like that looks really cool. The software at DreamWorks is all proprietary software, and it's the hardest software to learn on the planet. It's insane. And so I was like, if I can learn that software there, I can learn ZBrush, and I just taught myself. I just, forced myself to go through all the tutorials, and now I teach. I was the main teacher for ZBrush at DreamWorks, and I always tell my students, it doesn't have a learning curve; it has a learning wall, and you have to force yourself to go through it. And then, for myself, it was like, just kept going through tutorials, going through it, and then like 6 weeks in, it just clicks and you're off to the races.
Nice.
So you do a bunch of.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you good.
But you said you do a bunch of like character TD rigging stuff.
Yep.
So how does the in terms of kind of the transition between like do studios? I mean, I know maybe at smaller places like Commercial House or something, you might do both, but kind of at a larger studio, what you said you started with the rigging stuff?
Yeah, I've been a rigger for 10, 15 years.
With an R, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
The bigger studios are not keen on people switching departments. They kind of, they want to keep it like an assembly line, which is kind of fine or whatever. It's a smaller shop where I think you kind of get to have a little bit more freedom, where you can kind of bounce around and do different things.
Tyrus also teaches ZBrush, don't you, T?
Yeah, I've been watching Wade grow in ZBrush. I remember when he first started with his characters, and we had a couple conversations with it. So it's cool to watch him go from an animator to a sculptor, and it's good that he's finding work doing it too. That's even better, man.
Do you still animate, Wade?
A rigger is what I meant to say.
But I was an animator a million years ago before I started rigging. I was just doing When I was back in the Northeast, I was doing. I worked for a kids software company as an animator there. Is one of the main character artists for Sports Illustrated for kids, doing like flying blimps and little little things like this and that, whatever kind of stuff.
With doing all this work for all the big companies that you work with, have you ever thought of doing your own project?
Yeah, I've been working on my own short forever now. I haven't touched it in about a year, but yeah, I'm always working on my own stuff and doing my own short now. And I would love to like start my own company at some point. And the freelance stuff kind of lends to that.
Gives you more time to be able to do stuff, or just because you get your hands on other.
Well, you get to
other
learn
jobs.
about the business side, and I think you kind of see how, especially working for smaller places, you can kind of see how, you build your networks up, and you can kind of see how like these smaller places will pitch projects and kind of build up a team of freelancers or whatever, and kind of just get rolling along with projects.
Nice.
Hey, so talk about this. You were talking about the ZBrush wall.
Yep.
And for a new artist who's working or switching to a new software,
Yeah.
What was the biggest thing? What was the transition like? Was it intimidating? And how did you actually get over the hump?
For ZBrush? Yeah, ZBrush. I mean, the interface is horrible. Like, at least
Go ahead, say it. Say it. The
It's
interface
awful.
is horrible.
It's horrible. But I love it now. I mean, once you get comfortable with it, it's great. But it's just, you kind of have to just kind of force yourself, self-discipline, just kind of just go through the tutorials and you will learn it. It's like learning anything. Just practice, work at it, and you'll accomplish it.
Were you doing tutorials off of YouTube, or were you actually
Everything.
going to like Linda and?
I was going on digital tutors, and then I think I went through just one of their basic intro ones just to kind of get the interface. And then for like that first year, when I first 6 months to a year, I just became a sponge and just watched every single thing I could ever get my eyes on, like YouTube or whatever, anywhere.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
And where are you teaching now? Wait.
Right now I'm teaching for CG Society. I'm teaching a facial rigging class for them.
Now, how does that one work? Because I know I think I've looked at a CG Society course back in the day. I think Tyrus introduced me to one way back when. But that's more like that's all pre-video, right? Pre-recorded, right? And then you kind of like keep up with them on like a forum type deal, or is it different now? Is it okay?
Yeah, it's great. It's great to teach for them. They've been, it's been great teaching for them and good to work with them. The first run. So I did my first run like right after the first of the year, and then it's just starting up the second run. And it's as far as teaching goes, it's not the second run's a lot easier because all the videos are already done. And then you're just kind of answering questions and giving feedback and things like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm going to share my screen so we can take a look at your
Some of the artwork, yeah.
Your work.
So I think one of the interesting things that you've done in your career is the whole rigging and technical director thing. Can you talk a little bit about because we have a lot of viewers that might be up and coming artists and whatnot and wanting to know how to get into that. What would be the best way to build a reel if you wanted to be like a rigger? Because I'm figuring everybody sometimes with these terms, technical director and all that good stuff. If they want, do you know a lot of programming? Did that help, or did you just learn mail script, or how did that work? Talk a little bit about that. Yeah.
When I first started, let's see. Well, a million years ago when I was doing Flash stuff, I learned action scripting, and I mean I did some scripting and programming in college. When I got my first real rigging job, I barely knew anything about Mel and kind of learned as I went. Nowadays it's all Python, but I mean if someone wanted to get a job, I say just learn Python. That's the first thing you want to do if you want to become a TD or a rigger. Learn your Python, learning Qt and interface design, all that kind of stuff. But scripting is so super crucial.
Because you're basically building like mini programs for you and other artists to use in order to rig these characters and stuff, correct? Or like that works inside, and it's mainly Maya now, right?
Yeah, it's all Maya. Yeah. So I wrote my own like auto rigging system. So that I've used it for a bunch of projects. I used it for Pan. Use it for the project I'm on now, where you basically say, okay, here's a shoulder, here's an elbow, here's a wrist. Build an arm rig and just go, and it builds the whole thing automatically. And so I can actually build a whole character rig in probably 10 minutes.
Wow, that's crazy. I remember when we were in school, that was a nightmare, and now you can do it in 10 minutes.
Remember the wiring stuff?
Oh yeah.
IK reverse. Nightmare. Oh.
Jack remembers that. He had a funny animation back in school where he had his character go gimbal lock right on purpose.
Yeah.
Remember that? I still remember. It's hilarious because it's just the plight students go through when they're rigging stuff. And Jack had a cool little animation where all of a sudden the guy was like, "Whoa!" and the arm was just like spazzing out.
So hey, here's a question. Let me ask you guys this while Carlos is showing his work. When we think about like going through school and the career, what were the hardest jobs or the hardest things that you had to learn or pick up and learn and do consistently? For me, it was definitely rigging.
Yeah, I mean, when I went to school, rigging was not I didn't even know what rigger. I mean, it didn't exist. I graduated in '97, believe it or not.
Oh, you were right before the cusp of where everybody was like, "Oh, this is what."
Yeah, they didn't even have texture back there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a different time. Like we were on at Syracuse. We were on like these old, stinky, like horrible SGIs that were super slow. They had Power Animator, but no one knew how to use it, and it was the worst. And I ended up doing my senior thesis like all hand drawn. And then when I got to school, I started doing design work in New York. But I knew I wanted to get in 3D, and I started taking some like night classes at like SVA and learning Maya. I'd already known soft image, and so it was pretty easy to transition go from soft image to Maya. Just figuring out where the buttons were. And I started doing like the 10-second club back in the day. I originally wanted to be an animator, and so I started, building these little characters, and I learned how to, in order to animate. There was not all this free stuff that there's out there now. So I learned how to rig all these characters. And in the process, I started writing some articles online about, this is how I made this character for this short thing, and sent the articles to RealFX, and they were looking for a rigger, and they called me up and said, "Hey, you want to come down and work on a direct-to-DVD G.I. Joe movie?" And packed up my futon and went down to Texas.
Nice. And I'm assuming that was a lot of learn on the job then. That was like to really learn what you need to do. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought I knew a lot when I got down there, but then you really start to learn a lot down there. And then I went to DNA Productions, where I was working with Mike Comet there, he's a rock star.
He had the best website for the longest time.
I know.
So much content on that site.
I still use his tools now, and they're like
really 10
years old. The Comet script, the Comet tools, they're awesome.
Where is he now?
He's at Pixar.
He's at Pixar? Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So what brought you to LA?
DreamWorks. I was working in London on Tale of Despereaux frame store. London's awesome. I plan to go back there at some point. And we were wrapping up this movie.
Is the bridge actually falling down?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Hey, we need you on that board immediately, Jack. Get ready. Carlos is at it. Get the board warmed up.
I got all kinds of stupid stuff to say.
He was so quick with it. He was like, no, we would not let that fly.
London's awesome. If you guys ever get an opportunity, especially youngsters getting out, if you have an opportunity to go work abroad, do it. Like, go see the world. I loved it over there. It was awesome. And you get to travel around, see all kinds of cool stuff. London's crazy expensive, but
That's what I heard. I heard it was expensive.
it is.
Yeah.
It's basically everything. Take away a dollar sign, put a pound sign. And like when I was there, it was like 2 to 1, except your salary. Your salary doesn't double. And when I was there, it was 2 to 1, so it's $2 US to £1. So like, you know, the movie theater here is like, you know, $10, $15. There's 10, 15 pounds. I'm like, $20, $30 for the movies? Like, are you kidding me? That's insane.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But it's fun. It's great experience, great life experience working over there, and finish up the movie there. And like, you know, like most of the time when you're working for smaller studios, once you finish a project, everybody's out. And so they're like, yeah, all right, you know, I was on work visa, and so things are coming to an end there. And I was talking with DreamWorks, and they said, all right, we'll give you. They want to know when I was getting back to the States. And then I told them it was like whatever, September, whatever, and then they're like, all right, we'll give you, you know, 2 days to get used to New York time. Then flew me out to interview in L.A. And by the time I got back, had an offer and packed up my stuff and went over to L.A.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you have any kids?
I do. I have a boy who's almost 2 who's sleeping right now.
Nice.
Oh, so he doesn't even understand how much ass his dad is kicking because
Yeah.
like dad works at DreamWorks. Like all kids want to wake up to say that.
Yeah, right.
You're right.
So I actually had a friend that was being pursued by DreamWorks.
Mhm.
What's the culture like there? Is it really a ship sinking?
Well, I mean, after I got laid off there, I actually went back as a freelancer to go teach. I was teaching stuff for the China studio. Yeah, and I still keep in touch with all my friends there. It's not good. I mean, I don't, you know, some of the movies are coming up. There's some big question marks. I hope they turn it around. I'm rooting for them. You know, they're close to my house, and it'd be great to not have a crazy long commute. But I enjoyed my time there. It's a good place to work for. It's union. It's fairly lax. Like it's not fairly low stress for the most part. At least back in the heyday, and they treat everyone really well. They had free lunch and breakfast and everything. The place looks like a country club. It's gorgeous. They have these fountains and waterfalls.
Yeah, I'm saying as you explain, I'm like, Wade is being really modest. That place is crazy. It's like Great America.
Yeah.
He's like all moderate, like, oh, it's pretty nice. Dude, it's like something Willy Wonka in a chocolate factory is where he works, essentially.
Yeah.
They have a Starbucks inside the lunchroom.
Yeah.
Dedicated.
It's nice. And then like they'd have like at lunchtime they have classes, which is really nice. So I started taking like a script writing class when I was there, and that's where I kind of flushed out my ideas for my short that I've been working on. And they have like drawing classes, sculpture classes, whatever you want. It's a good gig over there, or it was a good gig.
So can you talk a little bit about because a lot of the stuff in the visual effects and commercials is non-union. Can you just talk a little bit about your experience between union and non-union jobs? Because I know for some people that's like kind of a major unknown or a major gripe or a major benefit.
I mean, let's see. With the union stuff, I mean, they have like the benefits are great through the union, like the healthcare and everything. I think I'm paid like $100 a quarter for my health insurance. You have to pay your first paycheck for the union. The union doesn't really do that much though. I mean, they have all these massive layoffs and they're sending as much work as they can to India and China, but the union really doesn't. It's not like it's not like they're doing anything about it.
They don't jump up in arms like in other industries. Yeah.
They have no teeth, so they have good benefits, but other than that, I don't know. It doesn't really make that big a difference.
So how does that work when you got hired at DreamWorks? Do you then get a call from a union rep being like, "Yo, we need you to sign up"? Or how does that work?
You have no choice. So here's the thing: PDI was not union, and Glendale is union. DreamWorks or not DreamWorks, Disney is also union. And so you don't have a choice. You're in the union. They take your first 1 or 2 paychecks, and then you just pay your quarterly dues, and that's it. But they don't really do much of anything. They've got great benefits, though. I mean, I have a pension, and retirement's all through them. So.
Oh, so that's interesting. So it's literally like you accept your offer, and then part of the paperwork is you're filling out union paperwork too, and it's just like you just rolled in. It's no kind of applying for it or anything like that.
Yeah. Everyone's automatically in. Everyone in production's all union, but then like production people would not be union. They were employed by DreamWorks, but like my paycheck would say whatever it was, Entertainment Partners, which is the part of the union. So.
Yeah. It's interesting to me.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know if you had to that's an extra thing you had to do as an artist to go and sign up, or you met with people or whatever. All the unions I've heard of, it's just like factory stuff, and in other industries or whatnot. So I mean, like sign this.
Yeah, you're in the union automatically, but it's good. The great benefits. Historically, I think VFX actually pays better than what DreamWorks would pay. At least when there was VFX and work jobs at DreamWorks.
Is it the same union between like DreamWorks and Disney and all the other? How many animation studios are under the union?
It's DreamWorks, Disney, and then like Film Roman that does The Simpsons. I think Family Guy might be union. There's a bunch of other smaller shops. I think Nickelodeon's union.
Really? Okay.
There's a bunch of it's mostly smaller shops. Well, actually, most is either DreamWorks and Disney, and then a bunch of smaller shops.
So that's just for the feature film then, type of Jack, you're not in union, right?
No.
So they don't do it there. It's just normal.
Almost. I don't think any of visual effects is union.
No. ILM used to be back in the day, though, I think.
Yeah, you might be right. Yeah. And I mean, now that they're part of Disney, I don't know if that's changed at all.
Probably not.
Interesting. And then like LucasArts and all that stuff, were they union? Do you guys know?
Don't know. Probably not.
Wow. Craziness.
Which is going to lead me into another part of my research when I was stalking Wade. Apparently, apparently he really likes the Yankees.
Yes, I do. I haven't been.
Look at it.
Started as
well, it's like a bad relationship, isn't it?
Hey, I root for the Cubs. It doesn't get any worse than that.
Yeah, the Yankees are in first place out right now, aren't they?
Are they?
A-Rod is on fire right now.
This is last year, right?
Not well. That's yeah, right. I think he'll be back. A-Rod is on fire right now. Like, this is crazy.
Is he really?
And the Yankees, they didn't pay him the bonus that he earned. So he hit 633 or 630. He hit his 630th home run. Uh-huh. And the Yankees owed him $6 million, and they didn't pay him. They're not going to pay him.
No. Yeah, I think that's a bogus move, and that's
about
That's kind of why I'm using the conversation of the unions to get to this, and then we'll get back to that. But supposedly the Yankees said, "Oh, it's in the contract where it says it's up to us to determine whether or not you have, if it was like commercially viable for us to have to pay you, and it's basically if we decide to give you $6 million, then it's on who's gonna unask $6 million for anything? Not many people. So now they're like throwing in the fact that he got busted twice for steroid use and blah blah blah.
Oh, that's kind of a dick move.
Well, okay, so but would you, if you ran the Yankees organization, would you pay him?
He's a cheat.
Yeah, I mean, right, that's right. He cheated, and he cheated. So
Yeah.
would you give up?
You
And oh, by the
probably
way, wait. And oh, by the way,
Probably
the $6 million turns to $9 million when you're talking about the luxury tax. So would you give him? Would you give up $9 million to pay a player who was cheating, and you know he was cheating, and you can prove it? No, none of us would. We all would say we're keeping that $9 million.
I don't give a damn if he wasn't cheating. And that's
it's just weird to have that kind of thing in there, knowing good and well they probably allowed it. I really don't like,
Nah, I don't think.
I don't think these
they
big
knew.
Really.
No,
At all?
no, I don't think they knew. I think and initially when all of the steroid things came out and everybody was all upset about it, like if you look at the Cubs with Sammy Sosa in St. Louis, maybe, but I got to tell you, on a side note, that was the best time in baseball.
Oh, yeah.
I'm all for steroids, just for the record. Everybody should be on steroids. I would give babies steroids because things are just better on steroids. But I don't think they knew that A-Rod was on steroids.
So he's doing really good now, apparently off of steroids?
Off of steroids, yeah. He was always a great player, and I don't think he was always on steroids.
Going. It took him a while to get going, but he's actually making moves now. He's actually doing well.
Yeah.
But yeah, he just.
I guess he doesn't have a leg to talk on or anything.
So
he just has to do his job right now.
I'm a big fan of the Yankees owners, where they build what they believe is going to be a team to win. I like that. I like that edge.
As a Cub fan, it's very important to you, isn't it?
And now actually the Cubs actually have something like that in place.
Oh, here we go.
It's been a long damn time. But yeah, the ownership is different, and they've been doing a really good job.
You got a young guy in there now.
But
right?
anyway, yeah, the same guy. You know that movie Moneyball?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was part of the Moneyball team. Anyway, so he's doing the same magic for the Cubs, the same thing he did for the Red Sox back in the day. Anyway, back to the Yankees. So the Yankees, they throw money. They throw money to build a team that they think is going to be a juggernaut. I love that edge. I love the fact that they want a winning team on the field all the time.
That hasn't worked out in
years.
Yeah.
No, but again, on the contrary, the Cubs have taken the opposite stance, and look at how good they're doing.
Right.
I love my Cubs, but
Touche. Good point.
They've been sucking for 100 years. Whereas even if you're pulling, if you're putting all that money towards it, I mean, look how exciting it is to be a Yankees fan.
They're always in the running, usually.
It's always. Even when you think they're out, they're not really all the time, and they're passionate, and that's how I think. I just enjoy that. Now, if you don't get it confused, the people who are running the show probably know that he's doing steroids because they have their own doctors, and there's always talk, and you have a guy who is just absolutely immense, and every time he bunts, it's 450-foot homer, and he's bunting. So you know that kid is doing some kind of illegal something. Now, I agree with Tyrus. If you're going to charge me $100 for a ticket, $50 for a hot dog, $75 for a beer, I want to see the biggest, most juiced athletes ever. I want every other ball to be in the stands. Yeah. I want you to have to take out one of those golf measuring things to see how far this stupid ball went.
It was exciting. What was the other guy that was juicing too?
Manny Pacquiao.
Manny Pacquiao. That's right.
Mark McGuire.
Mark McGuire, Sammy Sosa, Manny Pacquiao. The list goes on. But listen. You can't argue and tell me things are not better when people on steroids. I don't really care that people are dying from steroids. Let me just take a
Wow.
minute.
Can I just say that?
Listen,
Here we go.
that's why we pay you money to die, right? So you got you got 250 million. Yeah, you get to die at 52, but you get to live the life until you're 52. I have no empathy. I don't go, oh, this is terrible. They died at 54 from ball cancer. I really don't care. Like, you lived the greatest life. You took steroids. Like, okay, Lance Armstrong.
You got out of a lot of traffic tickets.
Absolutely.
You got to hang out with some of the.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah. Pretty wild.
You get to go to all the shows. You get to see. You get to watch baseball.
You got famous friends.
Your seat doesn't get any better.
That's right. Now look, check this out. Armstrong. Who cared about cycling until a dude who had ball cancer started taking steroids, and now everybody's like, ooh, Tour de France. And watch people ride a bicycle up a mountain because of steroids.
Remember the bracelets?
That's right, he had bracelets. Dudes were wearing yellow bracelets like, I live strong.
We sold out of those things at the finish line back in the day.
And what they did was, what's funny was they went down the list to find out. They went down the list to find out if we track down the first person on this list who wasn't using steroids, who would it be? And it was like the 12th or the 14th person in
that's
place.
Right.
Yeah,
that's right.
So, I mean, you're talking about someone who was behind Lance Armstrong like a day and a half.
Dude, Lance Armstrong was doing, he made a bracelet called Live Strong.
That's right. hey, sound guy, I would like to give Lance Armstrong an applause and all the other steroid users. Please, thank you.
Thank you, soundboard.
So doing a great job tonight. Jack's on top of it.
So all that to say, Wade, when any of your clients go to offer you a $6 million bonus, you make sure you pee clean.
Live strong.
Yeah, right.
You make sure you live in clean, not strong.
It's so good when you think about it in hindsight. All the T-shirts.
He was telling everybody.
He was crying out for help. So long.
Have you guys seen the 30 for 30 on Lance Armstrong? No, it's not. It's just a full movie. Have you guys seen this? No. This guy is one of the worst human beings who's ever existed. Listen, let's take Genghis Khan. We'll take Genghis Khan. We'll take Hitler, and then we'll sit Armstrong right next to him because he's right there. He is a terrible person. The things he did to people's lives, how he ruined them, how he ruined their livelihood, and you would never think that the way he was represented on television. Like, oh, here's a guy who has cancer. He's a terrible person.
Tyrus, they weren't strong enough.
Yeah.
Living strong. They're a little tight.
I just have flashbacks of all the merchandise I had to push back in the day.
You worked at
the Nike deals. Huh?
Did you work at Finish Line?
Yeah, I was the manager at Finish Line. Yeah. So all the bracelets and then the Nike rep that would come drenched in Lance Armstrong outfits or the shoes. It's just great now.
Now here's the irony too. So all of these people, they sue Lance Armstrong. They're like, hey, we want our money back, but they get to keep all the money they made off of the product.
Exactly.
And nobody ever says it. It's like, yeah, like as a consumer, I can't go, hey, this Live Strong bracelet is yellow. I can't wear it with anything. Like, you don't get your money back.
There was CEOs and businessmen in full suits. You could see the yellow come out from underneath their clothing.
So just in case I get ball cancer, I'll show them this band and everything will be okay. Like, it meant nothing. It was the biggest deal, and it meant nothing. Everybody's like, yeah, Live Strong.
Hey, so check this out. DreamWorks Animation posts $54.8 million loss.
Yeah.
Despite
Home doing well. Nobody thought Home was
Home
good.
did well. They had a 13% rise in revenues despite a $54.8 million loss for the period ending March 31st, 2015.
They're not going to go away. They're going to be around. I mean, they may
kind of too big to fail.
They will never. Jeffrey would never let that happen. Jeffrey Katzenberg is he's way too driven to let that ever happen. They'll ship everything to India and run it from India, but they'll never completely go under. When I talk with people, they're like, "Oh, you think the company's going to go under?" I'm like, "The company's not going under. You guys might be going home, but the company."
Hey, live strong.
Yeah,
That's strong.
What do you guys think? Why is DreamWorks, dare I say, struggling?
They oversaturated. They got too hungry. They did too many movies. They couldn't compete with with the budgets they have. I mean, they're $130 million budgets, and they can't compete with things like the Despicable Me is done for 70 million, almost half the price, and they can't compete. The stories have kind of got watered down as well. Bill Damashki is the one guy who is behind a lot of the bad stuff that happened over there. Jeffrey was at the helm, and then he handed the keys to Bill Damashki during Rise of the Guardians. And that's when the wheels kind of came off the gravy train over there.
How did Rise of the Guardians do?
Bad.
Not good at all.
Yeah.
So William Joyce, he's the guy who wrote that, right?
Yeah. Bill Joyce, like he does great books, and they're great styles, but they're horrible movies.
Yeah, they don't translate well to movies. I completely agree. His books are fantastic. He's over at that company in Louisiana. What is it called? Moonbot, right? Yeah. They do great apps, great stories, but
beautiful stuff.
Well, to movies, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
But we'll see. Jeffrey's back in the helm now over at DreamWorks. If anyone's going to turn that place around, it's him. I mean, he's insanely driven. He has a vendetta against Disney, and he will not let that place crumble to the ground. Like he'll, he may cut it down to one movie and outsource as much of this stuff as he can, but they'll never completely go away.
So on a serious note, because they're struggling and they have a juggernaut like Shrek and they have Kung Fu Panda, do you think they're gonna go back to the well again?
They're doing
another Shrek.
They're doing another
Panda.
Panda, yeah.
Panda 3 is coming out in January next year. I've always said that behind Jeffrey's desk, because Jeffrey's like, no more Shreks. After the fourth one, he's like, we're not doing Shrek anymore. I always said that they had like a Shrek 5 script behind a case of glass that said, in case of emergency, break glass. When things get really bad, they're like, yeah, screw it, we're going to do another Shrek. But they're not. I mean, they announced their slate for the next 3-4 years, and no Shrek.
Good.
Yeah, I think we should leave Shrek alone.
Yeah, they get 2 movies every year. One's either one's a sequel type, and then one's an original one. But I cannot believe PDI closing down. I mean, that's just
That's crazy, right?
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. And I mean, they laid off. So they laid off what they announced, like 40%.
It's like 500
people. Yeah.
Yeah, 500 people, but it's more like 700 or 800 because they laid off 500. And then a lot of the people up in PDI. So PDI was like, what was it, like 400 or 500 people. They told all those people move down or else go home. And from what I heard, I think they offered 180 people jobs up north, and I think from that, it was like 60 people.
Really? Took him? Everybody just, well, I guess families and stuff are just fixed and they just can't move.
Yeah,
right?
People have houses, lives, kids in school, and everything else. And I mean, there's other stuff. I mean, probably not super ton, but there's stuff in the Bay Area. I mean, I know people that landed over at Pixar or Apple or Google or whatever. So.
Well, I'll have to tell you guys about how I landed at John Lasseter's house. Once we get, I don't like to brag in public, but yeah, remind me. It's pretty. No weed whackers and leaf blowers, none of that shit.
Oh man, so
It
good.
didn't even cross my mind. It was
Me either.
someplace else. Oh man.
So doesn't DreamWorks have a TV branch as well?
They do. That it's not in the same Glendale campus. They have it kind of off to the side. But yeah, that's one of the few places that's actually making money. But they outsource everything. They do a couple. I think they do like storyboarding in house, and then they just ship everything out. I think they're doing some in Canada actually, because I think it's cheaper to have it done in Canada than in India for some of the stuff, for some of the TV stuff, which is crazy. And then they're outsourcing an entire movie. They're doing a movie called Captain Underpants, and they're outsourcing that entire thing to is it Miroku's place up in Montreal?
Really?
Yeah.
Isn't Captain Underpants that very popular boys' book? It's like a kid's book, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the one.
So what would be, now that you've worked for some really cool places, what would be your dream job?
I would love to do my own. I'd love to have my own studio at some point. That'd be great.
Really? Like a decent size? Really?
I would love to. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it'll happen or not. But you know, my plan is to incorporate this year. You know, We'll see what things, how things go. But I would love to, you know, kind of just work. You know, start off by working from home, and then, you know, when you get bigger projects, you know, bring on people and kind of, you know, if you get enough stuff rolling, you know, rent out space and go at it. We'll see.
All right, here's a tagline. Ryer Studios. Ryer, I hardly knew her. I'm working for these crickets. So
Thank you. He said, Ryer, I hardly knew her. The fact that that's on the inside of you and it came up.
Bazinga.
It just felt awkward when you were saying it. It just felt bad. Oh man.
Is this thing on?
Weapons free now. Now you make Jack watch you the whole time. This guy is just going crazy. You have to ring him back in.
Hey guys, can we take a moment and let's focus on Jack's fish tank? This thing is getting amazing. Jack, what's going on?
I think it was episode 1. Episode 1, it was pretty much empty.
And now look at it. He's got a aquarium behind him. Look at this.
You just beep yourself.
I don't curse.
Perfect.
I don't curse. I have to beat myself.
Yeah.
Jack, that is amazing, dude. What kind of fish you got in there? Let's talk about this.
Or we can talk to Wade.
Wade wants to know
about the fish too.
Wade wants to know about the fish.
Hey Wade, what do you think of the fish tank?
It is saltwater.
Nice.
Nothing but the best for Jack.
There's a couple of clowns in there and a yellow tang and
we got a couple clowns in
I
here
knew you
too.
were gonna stay there. No, you don't get the other part.
Nope.
Do you get any sea urchins?
Those are actually called anemones. But yes.
No. What you should have done was cricketed him, because that was
Right.
No,
Hey, Charlie, do it again. Here's Charlie.
Don't get back if you can't do that.
What is that, an electric eel?
Oh, the sea urchins is the one that stick to the fish.
Look at
tank,
it.
Yeah, they look like little spiky
things.
fish things. Yeah.
Sea urchin was like, "Oh no, you didn't." Oh no, you didn't.
I was chilling when I wanted to say an enemy or whatever. Shut up. You should get some then. These.
I've got that. I don't have any sea urchins.
Don't they help clean your tank though?
Which?
The sea urchins, right? Because they like eat the algae off the inside of the tank, right?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I think so, because after a while.
I don't have urchins, so I don't know.
Hey Charlie, do you have a saltwater tank?
No, I don't have
Then how the hell are you telling him how to run his saltwater tank?
Obviously, I've been around him before, or I wouldn't talk about him. Stay out of this. This is grown man talk. You don't know what we're talking about right here.
This is grown man sea urchin talk.
Shut up, Tires.
Hey, wait. Let's talk about when you're preparing yourself to go into a job. Well, actually, you said that you get a lot of work that they reach out to you.
Yeah.
Let's talk about when's the last time you had to do, say, an art test?
Oh, yeah, I will. More than happy to talk on record about that. Don't anyone ever do an art test for Naughty Dog. They're the worst. I will never.
Dude, you're gonna do it. We're going there. Yes, everybody.
The hell
Doesn't matter who we get.
I will never work for them in a million years.
Oh,
I can't stand art tests.
the salt is real.
When I got laid off from DreamWorks, I was talking with a bunch of different places, and Naughty Dog was like, oh yeah, they're like, hey, we love your stuff. I'm like, hey, thanks. I didn't even apply there. Like they contacted me. And
Oh, really?
Like, yeah. And they were like, hey, we'd love to talk to you. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. And they're like, here, take this test. I'm like, what? You're like, you guys contacted me. And so I was, I had like some time off, and I was, kind of applying to different studios, waiting to hear back and everything. So I was like, all right, fine, I'll do your stupid test. It took me a week to do. It was like this most horrible, stupid thing. You had to rig the guy with a holster. It was right at this theory. It was this whole big.
Wade was done in 10 minutes.
No, it was a work.
Stretch out to a week.
It took close to a week to do. I handed it in, and 2 days later, I got an email back saying, "Yeah, we're not interested." It was like a 2-line thing, like, "Yeah, thanks, we're not interested." I'm like, and that was it. For a week's worth of work, I was like, "You got to be kidding!" And I wrote back. I was like, I spent a lot of time on this, and I was like, "Can you give me any kind of feedback or anything, or is there any reason why did you not like something or whatever?" I did everything they asked. I got no response. So screw Naughty Dog.
Yes.
Yes.
Ah, that's the Wade I know.
I've never understood that. When I briefly took a break from VFX and was going to try out games, and as soon as I got in those studios and they're all making me take tests, I'm like, absolutely not. I am not. That's the only time I've ever seen the whole test thing is in the games.
It's brutal, man.
Why? I don't understand that. For free? I mean, they're not paying you anything.
No.
And here's the thing: you get two types of studios, right? 2 types, or really 3, because we can put the Naughty Dog type in there. The higher echelon where the art test should take you a certain amount of time, and you shouldn't turn it in before a certain point. But then you have the other studios, like smaller ones, where they'll send out art tests, and this will make students so frustrated because they'll send out art tests, and that's like their barometer, right? They don't necessarily look at your portfolio. They could, and then they'll send you your art test based off how good your portfolio is, right? And you could tell because it'll say like, 2015 such and such art environment art test or character art test, right? And they use it as a barometer. And then you have the other studios that do a little bit better where they're like, we're not going to send our art test out because we don't want everybody to know what we test people on. And it's more so we're going to look at your portfolio. We're going to interview you first. And if we like you, then we're going to send you a test. So you still get hit with the test, even though, So, and then you have the rare ones, right? You have the rare instances where like they look at your art, and like say somebody like Wade, that art test part should have been waived, and then they should go straight to like maybe 2 or 3 interviews instead of like you doing an art test. You speak to the HR person or whatever, and you speak to a lead or art director, and they call you in or whatever if they like you. I think it's interesting how it goes because I just had this conversation this past weekend with a buddy of mine that we just had on the show, Patrick, who just had on the show, and he was was fascinated about it because that doesn't happen in the motion graphics industry, and for broadcast and some of the film stuff they don't do that. They kind of look at your work, and art directors kind of like make a assumption after that, and then they call you in and they interview you and try to to see what you know and stuff like that. So it's a weird thing. It's with game. I'm finding it's only game.
Yeah,
It doesn't.
I've been in a bunch
Yeah,
of different
yeah.
jobs, like freelancing, where like, they'll call you and be like, "Hey, are you available?" I'm like, "Yeah." Great, can you start tomorrow? No interview or nothing, just like start tomorrow. I'm like, "Okay, sure." Like a lot of the freelancing stuff, I've never had a test doing freelance stuff, but I've also seen people that can put up a good portfolio, but then like they'll ask them to go home after 2 days if they can't hang.
Yeah, which is and out of my time in game, I've seen it. I've had it happen once where I got called in just based off the portfolio, and then interviewed right away, which was like, oh, that's kind of nice. It doesn't happen too often, but everybody seems like they want you to do some type of test or something like that. And then I've also known other guys that where they'll and I've had it happen in the past where they'll ask for revisions too on the test. So maybe there's like 2 rounds of like the art test, and then they'll like fly you out or something like that.
It's stupid.
Yeah. I mean, you're still not guaranteed the job.
For free. It's not like they're paying you.
It's like a draining thing. Yeah.
We call that getting Charlied.
That's what I've been thinking the whole time. We call this getting Charlie. So Carlos, explain that, because that's hilarious. At Charlie's expense, what getting Charlie is.
No, actually, better. I'll tell my story. So, a couple weeks ago, I started interviewing at Jib Jab, and I went through the one interview. Well, it was through a headhunter, so I had interviewed with the headhunter because they had preliminary questions that they wanted the headhunter to ask, and then obviously I go through that, and then I go down to LA. I was supposed to meet with the guy at the headhunter's office, but he couldn't make it. He was feeling under the weather, so he called up, and he was asking me a bunch of questions on that. So I talked to him about all that stuff and about about my resume and everything, and then he asked me a bunch of coding questions. So I was answering all of those, and then he's like,
Tired
"Oh,
already.
yeah, cool." So then like a couple days later, they reach back out and say, "Yeah, we really like you. We want you to come in." So I go into Jib Jab, and I talk to them, and we had another test. So I'm sitting there talking like, oh, if you create an object, and we're like drawing, like we're planning this project on this huge dry erase board. And I'm like, and this is how I would do it, and la 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 la. And then the guy put up there like this crazy array with a bunch of random numbers and stuff, and he's like, how would you do this? And then so I kind of coded that out, like writing it out, and then he's like, or we could do it like this, and then together we like came up with this super optimized way to do it, right?
I mean, you're writing code out on a whiteboard?
Yeah, we're literally like, and then he really liked me, and then I met the other guy. He asked me a bunch of other questions about, video and all this other stuff, and I'm just like answering question after question after, and it's not like, so how did you feel about your old boss? No, it was like, how would you approach writing this function? And so we went through, and then I had like, well, how many interviews was that? I don't know. Well, altogether, there was one interview, but it was 2 people, so you can kind of say that was 2. So the last one was with the main VP guy. And,
Still just one.
And what?
It's still just one interview, but continue.
Okay, so it was so it's still 4 interviews. The last one was with the VP, and we talked for a long time, and he asked me a bunch of technical questions and stuff. And then he had me share my screen and write code how to parse through a comma delineated file and pull out the value data sets, blah 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 blah.
Make my head hurt. Stop it.
And yeah, and I was like, I've never done this. I told him, usually I'll get like XML or I'll get like, a JSON object, and then I'll just parse through that. I've never had to parse through anything like this, so I don't know. He goes, well, think about it. And they were really cool. Like, everyone I talked to was super nice. He's like, just think about it. And I was like, he goes, what would you do right now? Like, I took the data, I loaded it, but I had a chunk of data I couldn't get through and get the value, right? So he's like, what would you do right now? I said, go to Google. So I didn't get the job.
No, after all that.
And what is that called again?
That's called being Charlied.
The new form of hate that I have for you guys.
After all that.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I remember, though, I guess I could say, like, you know, the ER test can be, like, daunting, but, like, I can remember being back in one of my other jobs where I would walk by the conference room and, like, the programmers would have, like, equations on the board or something I thought it was the equation for, like, whoever was interviewing that day. I used to be like, man, if I had it rough doing little art tests, programmers probably have it even more rough, because then can you think of, like, a programming lead sitting there trying to think of an interesting way to test someone's analytical skills by, like, having them work through a problem?
It's like joining a gang. Like, they got to beat you up first before they accept you.
Yeah, they have to G you in. I did work for this startup video game company in San Francisco. They build slot machines, but, like, for the web and for mobile devices. You know what my test was? To build a slot machine.
Wait,
like,
what? By yourself?
What you do, bitch? You build.
You gotta have a bunch of projects ready and queued to sell.
I gotta tell you, it's funny that you talk about that, Carlos. The casino slot game industry is so crazy. It's an entirely different world, and it's so much work. It's so many different jobs, and they expect you to come in and understand their world, but nobody understands their world unless you've already worked in their world. But for some reason, they think you should understand it, and they've been there so long. Most of the people are like, they start off there and they just work through. They don't understand that people don't understand their world. So they would ask you to come in and, yeah, let's build an engine for a Facebook casino game. And you're like, what? It's just how it goes, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yes. And I don't mind coming in and like starting a project from scratch, but when you drop me into a project where 3 people have already had their hands in it, it's brutal, because writing code is exactly like speaking. Everyone has their own way of doing things. It doesn't matter how many. You all could go to the same school. You drop those people into that code, and it's a melee.
As long as it works, right?
Yeah, but getting it to that point, that's the trick. So, Wade, you were talking about you used to code Flash, and then you learned Python?
Yeah, I've gotten more into Python in the last couple of years. I made the jump over, actually, after I got laid off from DreamWorks, talking with a bunch of different companies, and I was like, hey, look here's all my rating stuff, and look at all this cool ZBrush stuff I do. And they're like, great, do you know Python? I'm like, sorta. And so I learned quickly.
Like the snake?
Yeah, and so I got into it quickly and hard. It's really not that hard. I mean, I knew Mel really well beforehand, so it's just kind of learning different syntax of things. So, and it's super powerful. I do it all the time now. It's great. I do love, doing the freelance and stuff, bouncing around, working for smaller shops. I have to say, I really do enjoy doing both sides, like the technical of, like, writing tools and writing rigging, scripts, and then also, doing the creative side, sculpting out characters and doing fun kind of stylized things as well. So.
Hey, Wade, listen, I got a question for you.
Shoot.
I've never asked this of any other guests, but we're good friends, and when I ask you to do something extraordinarily awesome,
Yeah.
there's a sword on the desk or the bookshelf behind you. I'm going to need you to get that down and do the rest of the interview with that sword. Thank you.
You know what? That bookshelf looked a lot smaller. It's a huge bookshelf.
Wade's a huge man, so
He accidentally tips a bookshelf forward.
Can you imagine if that happened?
They're like, oops, sorry, bud.
I have to keep it up there because my son will get into it and want to play with it. So.
Yeah. Good job, Wade.
There you go.
From now on, you speak with that in your hand with authority, like a man.
Where'd you get it from, Wade?
Internet. When I was drunk one night and ordered it, so. Yeah. I need a samurai sword.
Hey, I want that one. Here's my credit card.
It came in a house like 3 days later. I'm like, what the hell was I doing?
Then you realize you ordered a sword.
There you go.
Oh, Jesus.
Wait, I shall return. I'll be right back.
I'll talk with that in my hand. How about that?
You guys can compare swords and guns.
If you were in The Walking Dead, would you rather have a shotgun or a samurai?
Well, wasn't there somebody on the Walking Dead that had a sword and was like chopping folks' heads off?
She is amazing.
Did she last?
She's still there, dude. She
Okay,
doesn't.
so maybe we need to have a sword.
Dude, she had like pet zombies on chains.
Hell yeah, she did.
Wait, what?
Hell yeah, she did. To cover the fact that she was still alive, she would
smelled
take
like a human?
Zombies. She would cut their arms off and then rip their bottom jaw off, so they can't bite her and they can't scratch her. And she would walk around with these two zombies on the leash. So then she was basically invisible to the other zombies.
Because they were
Charlie,
just
you
walking
don't
with her?
watch The Walking Dead?
No, I do not.
You always let me down. As soon as I start to believe
And that's
in
why
you,
that's why you can't complain. Like, I know Tyrus and Charlie like to bitch and complain about black dudes always being the first to die. You know why? Because they're not prepared. They don't watch shit like Walking Dead and prepare. You know how many meth heads out there are gonna wake up a zombie one day?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay, sure. Sure. This is gonna happen. But isn't she a woman? So yeah. Is there any black guys on the show still?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, every time a new black guy comes, they have to kill the old black guy. And
Are you serious?
I'm dead
Yeah, they
serious.
totally do. They totally
Oh
do.
my god.
There can never be any more than 2 black guys for a whole episode. You can love all 3 black guys. They could be awesome, appropriate for the show.
There's
1 or 2 has to die. As a matter of fact, the last season, this young kid, he's like 18 in the show or whatever, and I can't remember his name, but everybody loves him. It's Everybody Hates Chris actor, right?
Yeah.
Oh, he was on there?
Yeah.
Yeah, he dies the goriest death you have ever seen in your life. And you're like, really? Walking Dead?
Was he
White
really?
people were like, dude, come on.
Was he really timid and like?
I'm usually like, man,
nice?
you guys talking shit, but that time, like, they purposely, and they drew it out too. They're like,
Oh, it was terrible.
here's
It was
2 black
terrible.
guys over here. We're gonna get that one black guy that you really like. We're gonna stick him in a turnstile.
Are you
Yeah.
serious?
Yeah, he's going to be eaten alive, and you're going to have to watch it.
And
It
he's
was
like,
like,
hey,
are you kidding me?
and he's looking at you in the camera like this.
Right. Oh, it was terrible. It was terrible, dude.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's why you gotta watch that. You gotta get prepared. Look at, wait,
Yeah.
hey,
You got to get prepared, Charlie.
if the zombie apocalypse happens, I'm going to Wade's house. My man's got a samurai sword.
Wait a minute. What kind of gun is that, Tyrus?
First of all, Charlie, it's a
Is
rifle.
that a rifle?
It's a 22. My father gave it to me when I became a man.
Okay.
22.
And Charlie, you're almost a man, and I'm going to give you one day.
He's gonna pull a gun out of nowhere here.
No,
That'll be
you
the scary part.
No,
Tyrus,
I
show
got-
my house. Hey, I got something for you.
I got an HK9 coming, a handgun. It's one of the greatest handguns ever made. I can't wait to get it. It's coming in 3 more weeks. I'm a gun nut now, officially. Yeah.
Hey, Wade, you've been all over the place. You've been New York, London, Los Angeles, Chicago, Boston, Dallas, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Wow.
When you go to start your studio, where do you think you want to start it?
LA. LA is my home now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's my we have my son, my wife's originally from here. We have a house here and everything.
Nice.
I plan on staying here. Like I would like to go back to England when my son gets a little bit older.
Just a little bit of experience.
Yeah, show him England and expose him to a little bit more cultures and things like that. But LA is home for me.
That's awesome. So I really left an impression on you. Did you
What's
live
that?
in London?
Yeah.
Just being over there. Like, what was about it that really resonate with you? That you want to go back so bad?
I loved working there. It's a completely different vibe over there. Society in general is a different vibe. I feel like it's a lot more we're in it together type of feel for everything. Where here it's kind of like every man for himself. And then when I was at Frame Store was like 800 people, and I was one of 11 Americans, which was kind of cool.
So you were the man over there. That's what you're the rarity.
Yeah, I was like the minority over there. They're like they don't know what to do with you because in Europe there's this whole pecking order of like who's better than who and whatever, and then like the Americans they don't know what to do with them. They're just like whatever.
Because we're better than them.
Yeah, like
They mess up their pecking order, and you're like, wait a minute, but I have this.
Always play like crazy music on the 4th of July. Play Bruce Springsteen, like USA.
Teach those third worlders. Let them know.
Your pecking order means nothing.
That's right. Refuse to drink their water because you're afraid of malaria. Tell them things like that. You're not used to this third world water. Do you have any American water?
American meat.
It's fun over there. It's a different culture. Like you go to the pubs there every Friday, which is fun. Like everyone goes to the pubs. Like the directors down the secretaries all go to the pubs, which is fun. And then like you can travel around. If you want to Paris for the weekend, it's a 2-hour train ride, and it's fun. It's good times.
Hey, wait! I tell you what. If you really want to make a living out there,
go
out there and become a dentist.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. You got the work cut out for you over there.
God. Hey, on that note, for real, I went to what is that? Real Time with Bill Maher.
Yeah.
This happened a couple years ago, and there was one guy there, Van Jones. I don't know if you guys know him. He's a very strong activist right now. And then there was this girl. I don't even remember her name, but she was like totally on the right. And she said something to the effect of, there's no socialist countries out there with a successful
society
healthcare,
right.
Socialized healthcare. And Van Jones looked at her and goes, Canada, England. She goes, England? Have you seen their teeth? Van Jones looked at her and said, "You did not just say that in public." It was too good.
Awesome.
The healthcare works great over there. I mean, I'm not necessarily right wing or left wing or whatever, but I had a sinus infection when I was over there, and it's crazy.
Chlamydia, but continue.
Yeah, right. If I go in, go into the walk-in clinic or whatever, and they're like, okay, take your passport and everything. I was like, signed in. Doctor saw me. I was like, all right, where do I need to sign out or pay or something? They're like, you're American, right? I'm like, yeah. They're like, go home. I'm like, okay.
And that's what happens when you visit third world
when they
countries.
said go home, they meant take your ass back to your country.
Yeah, because we're paying.
The only comment I have after that, or the only question I have after that is, how's that shit feel?
Yeah, because like we just have to eat this cost here, America.
No, because people always tell me it'll go back to my country. Um,
Carlos, where are you from?
my dad is from
Mexico.
Cuba. My mom is Puerto Rican and Dominican.
No, nice.
You could have just said
Also
Chicago.
Or Chicago. But by way of Chicago.
Just say the street you grew up on. Him no.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to live right there on Kedzie and Addison.
Nice.
You know, Wade, do you miss
Chicago.
Chicago's food? We ate
Food?
a lot
Yeah.
when you were here. Yeah.
The weather, no.
No, not the weather.
The worst on the planet. It's awesome. It's a beautiful city, but I mean, it's pretty cities out there. I think it's nicer than New York, but the weather's just the winters are just That's why I live in Southern California. It's great year round here.
How was the winters over when you were overseas? How's the winters in England?
In England, it's consistently crappy year round. Like it's just, it's like
Isn't it like Seattle?
What?
yeah, it's just like 40, 50 degrees every day, and then it's kind of drizzly, rainy. But like I was just psyched. Like, after coming from Chicago, I was psyched that it wasn't snowing. Like it doesn't freeze
T-shirt
at
and
all.
shorts on.
That's how Chicago breaks people. You can go over to a place that's dreary most of the time of the year. They're like, yes, it's just not cold. It's just not snowing. Yes.
Let's just say that when God made Chicago, He made a city for men.
Man, I knew you were gonna say.
Stupid ass.
Wade's just laughing. He's like, whatever. I'm in
Hey,
California.
Terrace, you remember right across the street from Midway or where was it that you were working?
WMS.
WMS. Right across
Yeah.
the street, those hot dogs.
Oh, they closed down. That place is
They closed
amazing.
down. I made it just in time. When I was back home
What'd you get when you went there?
last April, I got the Chicago style.
Mm-hmm.
I had some folks with me, and I needed to show them the difference between shit
A hot
food
dog
here
and a hot dog.
good food back home. I had to show them why
Why I sent for it?
yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Chad. Wade. Have you ever? You got Chicago pizza, right?
That's not pizza. It's casserole. It's not pizza. It's casserole.
Oh, he's from New York. Oh,
It was nice talking to you. Wade.
Charlie, if
Glad
people
to
are
have you on
looking
the
for
show.
you, where can they find you?
But
no.
I am a Bears fan though. I can tell you that.
You can't come back with that because you don't believe in real pizza. No, we're not gonna wipe a beer. Suck. I don't care.
Hey, Charlie, it's been nice having you as a co-host. We're gonna let you go.
You cannot tell me the Bears don't suck. You better hope they do good this year.
Charlie, you suck. How about that? How about
Hey,
you, Charlie?
don't get mad. White Sox suck too. Southside.
Hey, does Indiana have a baseball team? Nope.
They don't need one. When's the last time
Charlie, go to
Chicago won a
sleep.
championship in basketball?
Charlie, go. When's the last time Indiana won a championship in anything? Oh.
So you were
Hey,
saying
has
something
anybody
about
ever
Chicago-
said, let's go take a vacation in Indiana? Ever? Nope.
Nope.
Look at
The best thing to
jump on
come.
the
Hey, the
bandwagon.
best thing to come out of Indiana was Michael Jackson, and look at that mess.
The best thing to come out of Indiana is corn. That's it.
And it comes out of my no.
Wait,
So
what? Yeah. Jack is on the spot.
And Carlos, they got a good Chicago-style restaurant out here in L.A.
what's it called?
Ooh.
Taste of Chicago over in Burbank.
Shut up, for real.
They do. It's run by the one guy who's on the Criminal Minds show, Joe Manteglia.
Oh.
Mantanga?
Is he from Chicago originally?
Yeah,
think so,
he was on Saturday Night Live doing the skits like Dub Airs. Like that's the guy. And every Sunday during football season, they have the Bears games on over there. And then he's like out hanging out with people, and like Jay Leno will come by there once in a while. But yeah, and they have like all Chicago style everything over there. It's good stuff.
That's it. I'm relocating.
Yeah.
Is it
There's
good? But is it good? Is it
you
good
said it
food
was in
though?
Burbank, huh?
Yeah, it is.
It's not
'Cause
bad.
I think
It's not
there's
bad.
a Cuban bakery called Porto's.
Portos is everything. Yeah.
Dude, Porto's is where it's at. Shut it down.
Yeah.
So good.
Where is that located?
They
Yeah.
have 3 spots now.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple of them.
I think there's one in Burbank. I think there's one out there in
Glendale?
is it Glendale?
There's one in Glendale, and then I think there's one on the west side somewhere.
Yeah, I wanted to say no. I don't think it might be Pasadena,
No.
but I don't think so.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know.
here's a question. Wade, are you going to SIGGRAPH this year?
Is it in LA?
Yeah,
Then yes.
I'll be there. So
Awesome.
we have to hook up.
Yeah, for sure.
How close are you to LA? Are you, where you living? Are you
In Pasadena. Yeah.
Pasadena? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all LA. It's
Okay.
all here. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mike. Go ahead.
So they'll have SIGGRAPH in downtown. It's like 20 minutes from my house. It's like I would be living in the equivalent of like I don't know. It's like a suburb.
Okay. Yeah, we have to hook up when I'm out there. Then I got a really cool deal on Airbnb, so I'm like 10 minutes, like less than 10 minutes from the
Downtown?
convention center. Yeah, so
Nice.
I have to hook up.
For sure.
Do you find those conferences and stuff useful?
Yeah, for sure. Like, and then out here in LA, they have what's the one? CTN is a huge one in November. I've met and gotten work through a bunch of stuff like that, where you just go around and start talking with people, and they're like, hey, do you know so and so or whatever? Like, oh, we need people are always looking for something or other, and yeah.
And CTN's steady building though, right? Because they start out small and they're like it's getting really, really each year. It's like
they want to keep it small, but it's awesome. I met tons of cool people there. I mean, I've gone to it every year for like past 4 or 5 years. But what's the one guy's? Pedro Conti. I met him last year.
Mm-hmm.
You know his stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I met guy who did Ren and Stimpy, John Christopher Lucy. Just ran into him randomly.
Oh wow.
There's always tons of awesome people there.
Did you ever see the video that he made for what's that the twerking chick?
Wait, what? Amber Rose?
No. She grinded on
Miley Cyrus.
Miley
Oh,
Cyrus.
don't.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, he did kind of like a twerking music video for Miley Cyrus. It's hilarious. John K.
Is that? Oh, that's the thing she did on her tour, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the video she shows on her tour. Yeah.
It's hilarious. John K. is a nut.
He is crazy.
He lost his mind.
And he reeks his booze.
He
What's
does.
Yeah.
He reeks of booze. Nice.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, CTN. Danny Williams spoke really highly about CTN and like, it's always posting a lot.
What's CTN stand for?
Creative Talent Network. I'm so bummed that Danny left town.
Yeah, you guys are good friends too, right? Yeah, he's way far from me now. He went back East Coast, right?
Wade, you're better off without him. Don't worry about it.
It's awesome having him here. I always bug him about ZBrush stuff, especially when I was learning, and he's an awesome guy.
I can tell he must be doing really good. You know he's in the game industry because we're tired haven't heard from him. We're trying to get him on the show, but they're working him now because he's back in the game industry.
What's the difference? Wade, what's the difference between working in games and working in features?
I mean, as far as
like work style, lifestyle.
I think games more younger folk. DreamWorks, I think, was more family people. I think VFX is kind of a mixed bag. I'd say mostly younger single people, I guess. It varies. I think definitely in places like DreamWorks and Disney are a lot more family people, where it's kind of pretty much like 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, where you're out on the button, and DreamWorks is pretty good about that because I mean they kind of realize it's a marathon, not a sprint. so it's like you have these long schedules that you don't have to kill yourself on. Where a lot of times, especially commercial side of things, they're like, we got to get this done in 2 weeks or whatever it is. We'll pay whatever, double time or whatever, and you make a lot more money doing that. But yeah.
But at the same time, I think you also like you get a lot more time though. Those what is it like 4 or 5 years or something like that sometimes on a movie, right?
Yeah. For feature films, yeah, you'll be on a movie for. I was on Kung Fu Panda for 2 years. It's usually it's for rigging wise. It's about a year and a half. 2 years on a project.
And it's weird because like the average game cycle, if you would say like you have your AAA and you have your like just I guess you call them media grade or like really quick jobs like say you did one for a movie that could be like very quick, like a year, right? Because you have to come out the same day the movie comes out, but you don't get the same time as the movies because you'll get the contract so you get the contract now for this time next year,
right?
And it could be like put $1 million into the project or $2-3 million in the project, but it's still that's where that crunch comes in. But then you get the blockbuster titles, that can be. And I'm not talking about the Call of Duties because those are yearly based, but they've even split that business model up into 3 different companies doing it. You have the main company, say like a Treyarch, which is like the leaders of it, or what's the other guys out in LA?
Infinity Ward.
Yeah, Infinity Ward, where they get the true 2 years on the project for their version of Call of Duty, while say like Raven and like Treyarch, a couple other ones, and these other smaller studios that are part of it, they get like, maybe they'll get like a year or 2 year and they'll like overlap it basically, or they'll get like a less than a year based off of like, the which version they're doing or which DLC they're doing or whatever. So like it can vary. But now I guess games cost way more money, so there's a lot more like freelance stuff. I don't know if you saw that now, Wade. There's a lot more like contract work where they'll keep you on for like 9 months, but then the way contract is, they have to let you go for like 4 or 5, and then maybe they can bring you back on.
Yeah, I was actually talking with Blizzard about that because they're looking for a lot of people right now for contract stuff, and they're looking, which is kind of weird. It's weird too. Like my experience with the freelance stuff, like you can quote them really good rates, and they don't bat an eye. But then like but they're not, at least in LA right now, there's a lot of freelance stuff, but there's not a lot of full-time. Places will have no problem shelling out top dollar for like a quick 6-8 week project, but they don't want to commit to like a full-time employee, which is kind of weird.
Yeah,
it might cost a little more up front when you're doing that, but in the long run, if you have a full-time employee, as a company, you lose a lot of flexibility when you do bring someone on, and then you have, especially with all of the new restrictions or mandates when it comes to healthcare and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
You can, as a contractor, if you have, like I'm a contractor and I love it because I was in the military and I'm able to take advantage of the VA and healthcare through the VA and stuff.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I don't have to worry about it as much. So I can go out there and make a little bit extra money and not have to worry about. But once I go out there and start having kids and stuff, that's where it's going to start making a difference. But as far as a company goes, there's a lot that goes into your 401ks and your health benefits and the days off and all that stuff. So if you can, and you have the networking abilities, it might make sense to come out to California and contract for a while. Make a bunch of money and go home after a while.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally noticed that like it's changed. Maybe because there's more money being put into games, but that scares game companies also. Maybe that's kind of like they're like reasoning why for like all the crazy tests and stuff like that they make people do too. For some reason, But yeah, it could be also a crutch at the same time of like, we need you to do this test because we need you to be the best possible person ever because it costs so much money to put you into that spot. Maybe I don't know.
I don't get.
I've heard people say that. But it still doesn't. Sometimes it still doesn't make sense.
Dude, I've worked on a bunch of different, feature film stuff, and I never had that. I mean, it was always just regular interviews. DreamWorks, they have it's like a gauntlet kind of an interview thing. Like I think it's like a 4-hour interview that they put you through, where you meet basically all these different supervisors and whatnot, and they ask you a bunch of questions and whatnot. And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I think it might have something to do with. You know how gaming companies usually have a more accelerated timeline than a feature film
Right.
would? I think anyone can get in there, and if you take your time, you can model whatever it is that they're asking you to model. But I think they're doing. This is just a complete guess. I have no idea. I'm not a specialist in this, but I think it might be a speed check.
Oh, it is. It's definitely a speed check for a lot of places.
Yeah.
Because a lot of.
I was wondering that, but then it's kind of like I don't know why like commercial houses or like pre-visualization houses wouldn't do the same thing. It almost seems just like it's this weird legacy, archaic industry standard in games that just has never gone away.
Yeah.
Yeah, but commercial.
You know what I think the difference is that. Oh, go ahead, Wade. Finish what you were saying.
I was just going to say, commercial houses will call you, and like I said, they'll be like, "Hey, can you start tomorrow?" I'm like, "Okay," like with no interview, no nothing. But then, and then, like, if you're not, chugging away after 2 days, you will be asked to go home. So, which I kind of like that better, where at least you're getting paid for your time.
Yeah.
The difference is that so you talk about the game industry, where you have a lot of immature young men who want to get into the industry, who will do anything as far as steal other people's work, use software to create a portfolio, and so it's so much of that, and they have to say, can you really do it? Craziest thing, Wade, you brought up digital tutors earlier. I went out there for an interview. I've been working for those guys for putting tutorials up for probably like 3 years at the time. So they say, hey, come out, we want to talk to you. So I go out for an interview. It's like, oh, we want to give you a test. I go, you want to give me a test? I've been working for you for 3 years. And they're like, well, we just have to make sure. Really? So, but I kid you not, they said, well, you wouldn't believe. So I go out to lunch with the owner, great guy, great company. He goes, you wouldn't believe what people have done to try to get a job here, where you would assume that they had done tutorials for them, that they knew what they were doing. But he said, no, he's called several people who had falsified portfolios.
Really?
And he said it was common. I couldn't believe it. So I guess that's why they keep doing it,
But it's good enough for them to post a tutorial before the actual interview, though.
Well, so like with tutorials, it's you're showing a process, right? For one thing. If they hire you, you have to be good. So I primarily do ZBrush tutorials for digital tutors. So they want to know, can I do Maya? Do I know Maya? How well do I know ZBrush? And maybe another program, right? So when I come in, they have me test in the things that they think that I would teach in as a full-time instructor there. So, yeah, I guess it's common that people lie about that kind of thing.
I was caught in a situation. Where I was working for this company in Hollywood, and not only were we building websites for the different movies and such, but they did a lot of posters and billboards and stuff for all the movies that were coming out, blah blah blah. Well, they had a group of artists that would comp out a poster because it's a lot cheaper to pay an artist to draw, say, 50 Cent in a movie poster than it would to actually have 50 Cent come to the studio and be shot, right? So I knew this guy that
Literally.
I looked at his 50 Cent gets shot. But I knew this guy that I looked at his portfolio, and his portfolio was astounding. And so I took his link and I used my connections at this company to get him he came out to California and they wanted to hang out with him for a couple weeks, blah, blah, blah. And they wanted to do this art test. But he showed up and he was, no lie, he was just short of drawing stick figures. And I knew that I was in trouble because, I have a Wacom Cintiq, and usually if you have someone that can draw their ass off, they'll look at the Cintiq, they'll launch Photoshop, and they get to working in Photoshop, and they will draw a piece of artwork that's just phenomenal. This guy just kind of scratched a couple lines, and then he just went onto YouTube. And I was like, hell, what have I done? He showed up, and it didn't work out. It didn't work out because his skills didn't match up with his portfolio. And I was looking at his portfolio, and I kept saying, how did you do this? He goes, with a mouse. And I was like...
like using Excel?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
But no, I mean the quality of work that he had on his portfolio. Come to find out, he was stealing work, and I don't know the end of the story. Have no idea, and I honestly don't care. But I do care that I was the one that put my name and reputation on the line, and you're gonna show up and you're doing like little stick figures and stuff. Get out of here. I don't.
Dude, he had balls to show up.
I'll tell you the story later.
Like that's the crazy part about
you, because I'm gonna have to kill somebody. I will borrow Wade's sword and I will go to work.
Like what was that meaning like for you?
But yeah, like you have to be careful. Well, for example, Jib Jab. I've been doing flash work for a long time. I wasn't exactly what they were looking for, but they were about to offer me a full-time job, and it was for a halfway decent salary. So they needed to be careful that they were getting exactly what they were looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't blame them for that. But the conversations that we had, they knew that I was talking about. That's why I made it through so many interviews. Whereas this guy, he showed up, they're like, "Oh, you didn't even bring a pencil? Like, what artist do you know? What?"
No sketchbook.
No sketchbook. No pencils. No, like, come on, dude, get out of here.
That's ridiculous.
Hey, my battery's about to die on my laptop.
Uh-oh.
Well, we're right around an hour 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So we can start wrapping it up if you'd like.
Yeah.
If you guys want to continue, but I'm a bonehead and I forgot my charger at work, so it's about to go down.
Oh, good. We can.
Come on,
Mad
Wade.
disrespectful, dude.
Come on,
Mad
Wade.
disrespectful. You come on our show? You don't have a battery for us? You gotta be kidding me! You gotta be kidding me!
Shut it down.
Shut it down. Shut it down. Oh. You like hurting Tyre's feelings.
1 full page of a Harry Potter book.
1 full page of a Harry Potter book.
What is this, man? Wait, first of all, who is that? What is that?
That's 50 Cent talking
That's
about
the
Floyd
jam,
Mayweather.
dude. That's the jam.
You didn't remember that on Twitter and stuff?
No.
During the ASL challenge thing, he challenged Floyd Mayweather.
Go do a YouTube search
Come
on 50 Cent, Floyd Mayweather,
Jimmy Kimmel.
ESL challenge.
Those 50 Cent videos are priceless.
They were great.
It's mad disrespectful.
He said for 50. T.I. fuck your baby mama.
ALS.
Fuck that.
Oh yeah. They started talking about all type of like drama.
Anyway,
Who was it, Nelly and somebody else?
Yeah.
Hey Wade Ryer, if people were looking for you online and they wanted to see your work, where could they find you?
You can go to waderyer.com.
WADERYER.
That's it.
Ryer. I
Yeah.
hardly knew her.
Wow.
Boom! It's oh.
Wow.
Way to go, Jack! Way to go!
I feed off of those.
Charlie gets so excited.
Charlie, oh, there he goes.
Oh,
His
he
computer
closed out quick.
just ran out of.
Shut it down. Shut it down.
So yeah, if you guys are listening, Wade Ryer, WADERYER.com. Take a look. He's been working on some really cool projects.
Yes.
I was going to look for something else for him, but because I know he's on Twitter, but he kind of doesn't use it, blah blah blah. But anyway, WadeRyer.com. Hey Charlie, if people are looking for you, where can they find you?
You can find me on cargocollective.com/Charlie B. Williams or Twitter, CBW3.
And Jack Kasperzak. Hey, any word on your book?
It's stuck in the ports. So, yeah, I don't know. I'll let you know as soon as I know. Yeah, I'm going to go down there and inspect.
Yeah, hire a mercenary team. Go down there.
Hire one full page of a sketchbook Jack book.
Oh, double. We got double.
He's like in the middle of African pride.
Uncalled for.
Oh, my
Uncalled for. All right. Sketchbook Jack, if people are looking for you, where can they find you?
That's where they'd find me. Sketchbookjack.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
Cyrus Gaucher, we are having a little computer problem. Anything good in your world right now?
I don't know.
TigoSketch.com.
There you go. Yeah. TigoSketch.com.
That's when you know he has a lot of stuff.
Oh my gosh.
He doesn't know what to say.
And I'm Carlos Gomez. You can find me at carlosrgomez.com or take a look for Coconut Justice. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that good stuff. And this has been Sketch Zone, the podcast. You can find us on Twitter at Sketch Zone, Facebook.com/SketchZone.
SoundCloud.
You can find us on SoundCloud, iTunes,
Stitcher.
YouTube.
And when you're on the YouTube channel, go ahead and subscribe. Get that going. And then you can go to sketch.zone and submit your artwork or rate other people's artwork.
Carlos.
Sir.
Who's next week?
Next week we have the winner.
Who was?
Tyrus.
I don't know. I'm still working on it.
You still tallying votes over there?
I threw away all my notes.
He still tallies them by hand.
You know what he did? He's like, you know what? Podcast over. He's just those notes behind him.
Yeah, we are done. Hang on, I'll tell you right now.
I guess you got to stay tuned till next week since Carlos is unprepared.
Yeah, stay tuned until next week, like Charlie.
One full page. Oh yeah. Kenny Gross. Kenny Gross. We announced him last week, and I do believe we're good to go to have him on next week. He is an animator and video editor.
Ooh.
Yeah, so he'll be on next week. See you guys next week.
See you guys.
Shut it down.